Hello YouTube. For those of you that do not know me, my name is Matt. I'm going to give you a good walkthrough on my Extreme Flight 91-inch yak build. I found it's hard to find good tutorials in airplanes, and this being my first large build, I had to really scavenge to get an idea of what parts I should and shouldn't use, and I'm going to walk you around mine and show you the ones that I have used. Starting off, this is the newest engine in Desert Aircraft's fleet, the DA-70. A pair of 35cc cylinders opposing each other, equaling up to 70 cc's. Got the JTEC pipes on there. Got a real nice little fuel filter that actually has a paper element in there, and I'll show you the name of it. A quick-fire fuel balancer and filter, and that is from, camera's not going to focus, I'll read it, jnlproducts.net. That's a pretty nice little fuel filter, and it's supposed to help eliminate bubbles and maintain a little bit of fuel on the back side of the carburetor to help you start it up, so the system's almost never dry. Got the ignition box velcroed and zip tied. Most people like to use the latex foam. I used it up underneath my fuel tank. I mean, I see no pro or con to going Velcro versus latex foam. They both eliminate vibrations, in my opinion. Anybody out there care to correct me and have a good reason for that, I am willing to listen. And we can pass it on. We'll educate everybody. That's the goal of all this. Everybody build the best airplane they can build so it'll live as long as it can possibly live before it finds the ground. We don't want it to fail before then. We don't really want it to hit the ground, but though you're doing 3D, it's almost inevitable. The high-tech servos were the ones that Extreme Flight recommended, and the glare from my lights won't show you what it is, but they're the HS7950s, high voltage. And I am running a Spektrum AR9110X. That is a dual redundancy receiver. You can plug 2 LiPos into it, which I have 2 here, and then a third for my ignition. The ignition box requires no more than 6 volts, so there's my voltage regulator to tame that voltage down so we don't burn up the ignition box. I haven't quite got all this stuff strapped in here yet. I will set me up some Velcro and some Velcro straps. I did go as far because I realized I wanted my stuff to be back here. The canister box that runs under here is very, very light balsa wood. Not a lot of structure there, so for me to put my batteries on top, I cut another piece of balsa wood. Actually cut it 3 pieces and epoxied it in cross grain, so now I have a really nice piece of plywood here that I can strap my stuff to, and as I'm taking batteries in and out, I don't have to worry about damaging the box. Again, excuse all my wires, they are not tame yet. I plan on doing the maiden very soon, and we'll tidy all of this up before I do that. Let's see, because I'm running a high voltage setup, I had to get a high voltage throttle servo, and it's actually a pretty good servo, decently priced. It is a HS, let me see, I'm turning the camera away, 5.4, and I'm looking at it upside down, 9.6 MH, a 5496, high tech. Good little servo for the price. And servo arms. These are the recommended servo arms from Extreme Flight, SWB Manufacturing Corporations. Very nice pieces. I believe they have them for all the manufacturers of servos. The kit, the ARF, comes with metric hardware, and these arms are drilled and tapped for 440. The book tells you, or some of the videos tell you, just to go ahead and drill that out to accept your metric hardware. I am a machinist by trade. Somebody took a lot of time to drill and tap those holes 440 for you, so I got some 440 bolts and ran them through with some lock nut tight, and then I put a 440 lock nut on the very bottom and jammed it all up the chances of those coming loose are probably about as likely as never. So you want to do something a little bit nicer than just punching out your expensive servo horns. Buy you some hardware. All goes together very nicely. My plate that's on the front here to give me proper spacing from my thrust to my firewall, I actually made myself. Again, like I said, I am a machinist, so that's no small task for me. This plane actually required almost 3/4 of an inch to achieve the proper distance from thrust to firewall. So you could actually get a hold of some 3/4 inch spacers, or spacer, solid one like I've done. Whichever you choose, 3/4 inch would be plenty for the DA70 on Extreme Flight Yak. Switch, nice little billet switch, got from Hobby King when I ordered my batteries. Then, I'm running the Nanotechs. I've yet to have any problems out of those. The AR9110 is a fail-on receiver, so I actually had to rewire my switch a little bit. The place where the switch port is, you're actually connecting the ground wire with the signal wire to turn it off when you turn this. I'm not going to go into all that. That was a good bit of fun making that work. Cute little fuel dot came with it. You do not have to run the 9110. Of course, I found that out after I spent the $200 on it. All you really need is a good high amperage capacity receiver with however many channels of your choice. Dual battery setup is easy enough to achieve. There's plenty of people out there that are telling you how to do that. You plug one battery into your battery port, and you can plug another battery into any other available port that you already have on your receiver. Everybody says it works just fine. If you have no more ports available, there's a couple people out there that have even suggested just putting a wire harness in with your throttle servo and plugging your battery into that, and it will achieve the same thing. You'll have two batteries as a redundant setup. Receivers have what is called a bus bar in them. Your positive and negative pins that are inside, they are all connected through that bus bar, so if you put an extra battery in there, positive to negative, it's hooked in the same as the first battery. No big deal. The guys from DA Australia have a couple good videos on that, on how to set up a redundancy system without having to buy anything special. But I bit the bullet and bought the expensive one, so it's in here. You don't have to do that. Just make sure that your the amp rating of your receiver matches the load that you're going to be putting on them with your servos. These high voltage servos obviously put quite a load. You're not going to run a sport fly receiver inside this airplane because you'll cook it. As far as building the tank goes, there's DA Australia actually has a pretty good tutorial on tank building. I opted for an aluminum button. I built that myself as well. I think the company that makes the servo arms actually has their own version of those buttons to get rid of the plastic ones. Dubro tanks come with plastic inserts. The aluminum ones are nicer. You can tighten them down. You don't have to worry about them stripping. And as far as any building information goes, even if you're not buying an Extreme Flight airplane, I will suggest that you go to their website. They have some very nice build videos. A gentleman named Chris Jewett has done 3 series on them, a 48-inch electric series, the 60-inch electric series, which is 60.60 size airplanes, and then he does a 104-inch build. All of those are, of course, Extreme Flight planes that he builds, but he has a lot of really nice tips and tricks on building your ARFs, and I highly suggest that you check those out. And I think that's going to cover it. If anybody else has any more questions and would like to see any more of this airplane in particular, please feel free to comment, question. If I can help in any way, I will do that. And Everybody have fun. Fly safe.